Did you have enough to eat? Are you sure you studied enough for the test? Have you practiced the guitar, piano, and the trumpet for an hour each tonight? Do you have any updates on your test scores? Those were the starting questions my mother would ask me every night. If I wouldn't say yes to every single question, I would have to stay up a little later and finish whatever task I did not complete. It annoyed me greatly at the time, but now that I'm 25 and I live around 3 hours away from my mother, I am forever grateful for how she treated me. I did not graduate college or start a business, but I was a general manager of a store that generated around $2.5 million a year. I made enough to live somewhat luxury, and that's all thanks to all the time my mother spent making sure I have completed every single task. For my age, I've accomplished a lot. I was making 4 times I thought I would ever make in a year with my job. I was dating a girl that was absolutely perfect to me. Her name was Carolyn, and I knew I wanted to spend the rest of my life with her. She was funny, sweet, caring, and a fair woman. She had beautiful short brown hairs, eyes that changed colors, and a face that made me smile every time she walked by my side. I loved her, and I knew that I wanted to marry her. That is why when my mother gave me a phone call and asked if she could move in with me, I said, "Yeah, just give me a call when you get close to my house." She let out a sigh of relief and hung up the phone without saying another word to me. My girlfriend was living with me at the time, but I really thought she wouldn't have any sort of problem living with my mother. I mean, even if I told my girlfriend that my mother was coming to live with us for a while, she just gave me a smile and told me that I was a good son. I also knew my mother would be excited I found a woman so perfect for me. My mother came to my house 2 days ago. Caroline and I were watching a movie on TV when I got a call from my mother. She told me that she was around 30 minutes away. It was 8 p.m., but I didn't care. I was excited. I wanted my mother to see how happy and successful I was. But when my mother walked into my house, she immediately started talking about how dirty my house was. I tried telling her that we weren't expecting her to come so soon, but with a glare she said, "This isn't how I raised you. You used to be such an obedient and good child. Now you're just a rebellious punk." I gave her a small laugh and showed her to our spare bedroom. She started unloading her luggage in the room, and I walked back out to our living room. Caroline looked up at me with a face of concern, but with resulting hand on her shoulder, I told her that my mother would quickly get used to our house. She gave me a small nod and walked to our room. I called out to her to tell her that the movie wasn't over yet, but she ignored me and continued to walk into our room. Yes, my feelings were hurt, but I knew why she would be feeling insulted. I mean, we both cleaned our house twice a week after work. We fucking busted our asses to make sure the house was clean as possible. But what my mother said was pretty much a slap to our face. I finished the movie and walked into the bedroom. Caroline was already asleep. I lied next to her and tried to fall asleep. But right as I started to drift off to sleep, I saw a figure standing in front of our room. It was my mother. I tried to get out of the bed and got her back to her room, but before I get out of bed, my eyelids became heavy and they slowly closed while my mind fell into a deep slumber. I woke up yesterday morning and saw that our room was a complete wreck. Every single drawer in our dresser was laying on the ground. Everything that was inside the dresser was now covering pretty much every inch of our room. I got out of the bed and heard Caroline's voice coming from the living room. With a sigh, I walked out of the room and saw that my wife and my mother were having a very heated argument. Despite feeling slightly disappointed that there were already problems between my girlfriend and my mother, I got in between them and did the best to settle them down. Once they managed to stop yelling at each other, I turned to my mother and asked her, "Why did you go through all our stuff? Were you trying to look for anything?" After letting out an exasperated huff, my mother said, "I was looking for your test scores. I know you studied so hard for the test. Why won't you let me see them?" Caroline let out a snort and walked out of the room. I put my hand on my mother's shoulders and sat her down on the couch. Feeling concerned, I asked her, What are you talking about? It's been almost 8 years since I took my last test. Are you feeling okay? Tears started to fall down my mother's face as she started to sob. I patted her shoulder and told her that I would find her some help. But she smacked my hand and started to scream. You need to go take that test that you studied so hard for. I can't let you throw your life away like that. Go take the test and tell me how you did. I started to tell her that I didn't have any upcoming tests and that we were fine, but I couldn't let one word out. Hell, I couldn't even fucking breathe. I reached out to her, but everything blacked out on me. I woke up to the sound of my wife screaming. I couldn't really make out what she was saying, but my mother sat next to me. When I tried getting up, she pushed me back on the couch and told me to remain calm and relax until the paramedics arrived. When the paramedics got to my house, they loaded me up on the ambulance and pretty much threw me in the back of the ambulance. I tried asking them what happened, but all I could really get out was a series of unintelligible murmurs and gurgles. Everything went black again, and I didn't wake up until around 6 a.m. this morning. In the past 3 hours, I have learned that I have a tumor in my brain. My chances are pretty good. I asked the nurse where Caroline and my mother were. She gave me a small smile and nodded before coming back with Caroline. Caroline rushed to my side and started to sob on my shoulder. She kept telling me that I was fine and that she was so happy they called me in time. When I asked her where my mother was, she let out another sob and said, Baby, please, enough of that. You know your mother died 3 years ago. I don't know why you keep on doing this to me. I tried to support you and to understand the stress you must be feeling. I even tried playing along with you. But this is too much, baby. Please just stop. I know my mother died 3 years ago, but that doesn't mean she's gone. I mean, she was there for me when my previous manager died 2 years ago. He was shot in the head. Did I kill him? Of course I didn't. I didn't even own a gun. My mother just wanted to make sure I got the best position possible at my job. She was there when Caroline's ex-fiance was found in the middle of the living room. His face was completely torn off and his limbs were sliced off and thrown all over his room. Did I do it? How could I? I didn't even know where he lived. What I'm saying is, my mother loved me and she always made sure that I was given the best opportunities. For now, I will act like I made a mental breakthrough. I will play the part of a man that was under so much stress that he imagined his mother still being alive. I will spill tears and let out sobs as I tell the doctors, nurses, and Caroline that I have finally made peace. But most of all, I will wait for my mother's return.